Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are San Diego.
Yes, sir. From St. Louis, a double dipper, a twin bill, doubleheader, day-night home run derby this afternoon as the Padres got their 2 runs on Schimpf's 2-run homer, but the Cardinals answered with 3 more home runs. They've hit 6 in 2 games of the series. Cardinals prevailed early today by a score of 4-2 at Mark Grant Kenberg, and time for the Padres to score more runs. They've only scored 2 in each of the first 2 games.
And a great opportunity for Paul Clemens, because opportunity is knocking for the kid who used to be with the Miami Marlins. He gets to toe the slab this evening. You know, a lot of home runs. That's the big thing about Paul Clemens and his career and his line. More hits than innings pitched. The 28-year-old throws the fastball, the curveball, the changeup, and the slider, about 93. But the opponent batting average, Dick, that's got to come down, 293. So 7 career starts for Paul Clemens.
He answers his car phone, Roger, you know, that's that code talk. And on the mound for the Cardinals, the left-hander Jaime Garcia. He's not been up to his A game of late.
And Jaime Garcia doesn't throw that hard. The 30-year-old's making his 19th start. When he's ahead in the count, he's got a 1.20 ERA. But falling behind, it's disastrous, almost a 7 ERA. So, you know, once again, the theme for this Padre team the last couple of weeks has been hitting mistakes. Hopefully the second game they can split this doubleheader and tee off on Jaime Garcia.
Well, the key will be on Paul Clemens getting his first start as a San Diego Padre. 4 major league wins for Clemens at age 29. Number 5 tonight, that would be perfect. Julie Alexandria has more when we come back.
Padres and Cardinals about to get underway. And the San Diego Padres claimed starter Paul Clemens off of waivers back on June 28th. And tonight he makes his Padre debut as a starter for this game, the second game in the doubleheader. And Andy Green went into what made that decision earlier today.
And it just pushes everybody back, so our entire rotation gets an extra day. And when you look at the time when you have the 26 man, which we'll have today with Keith Hessler showing up for the second game, you got coverage. And so we think about what's best for kind of the entire group as we go through the rest of the season. And it's much about like the health of Christian Friedrich and Luis Perdomo and those guys, and making sure we take care of those guys when we have the opportunity to, and also gets Paul a chance to start.
So in a way, nice to have sort of an extra day?
I mean, you take advantage of what you can, and it's nice to have a guy like Paul Clemens in the bullpen that you're wanting to start and been like looking for opportunities to get him on the field in an extended look to where we can like work on some things and continue to see him develop and grow. And we obviously like what he brings to the table. He hasn't pitched in a long time now, so we'll see how he feels and make determinations on how deep we'll let him go into the game. He was good for 150 pitches, which was a little bit above what Balls and I were thinking, but like the zeal.
He likes the zeal. Paul Clemens saying, yeah, I'm good for 150 pitches. Well, we'll see how deep in the game he can go tonight. Those sound like Jedi numbers to me. And I got to tell you guys at home, I know you guys are ready to celebrate San Diego Comic-Con this week. Well, it is Star Wars night here in St. Louis. Got a lot of cosplay going on. We'll see if the Padres can add on. Coming up, 17 straight games at the home run. Those are some Jedi numbers right there. Can they send another one out into hyperspace? While the Ewoks in the studio will be breaking it down for you. Mike Pomerantz and Mark Sweeney when we return.
Baseball brought to you by Jerome's Furniture, where Jerry's price is the lowest price every day. By Petco, your complete pet store. And by Kaiser Permanente. Thrive. Paul Clemens completing his warm-up tosses out in the left field bullpen. Heads for the Padre dugout. Check the weather. It's a bit cooler, but plenty humid. 90 degrees at game time here in the Midwest. Humidity up from the rain last night and shower this morning. And the lineup card delivered. Padres messenger was Jon Jay, the former St. Louis Cardinal. He got a nice round of applause from the Cardinal fans when they showed him up on the message board. That cast is supposed to come off in a couple weeks. The Padres certainly have missed his contribution at the top of the batting order, and former teammate Yadier Molina there to give him a hug and encourage fans to give Jay a welcome back. Nice touch. Let's check the Padres lineup tonight, brought to you by Toyota. Travis Jankowski led off the game this afternoon with a double, and he starts tonight in the leadoff spot with Mel Myers back to his more familiar second spot. Matt Kemp rested in the day game, hits third, then Jan Solarte. Derek Norris, he was on the bench while Bethancourt got the start behind the plate. He hits fifth, and Alex Dickerson in left field. Adam Rosales will start at second base. Alexei Ramirez, he did not start the day game, and then Paul Clemens. And the Cardinals scouting report is now brought to you by Scripps.
And the left-hander Jaime Garcia on the mound. This kid doesn't really throw that hard. He throws a lot of ground balls. The scouting report looks something like this: two-seam with the slider, the changeup, also the curveball. He gets grounders and he's not overpowering. 59.7 ground ball percentage. It's the first in the National League. So if he's on his game, the infielder's going to be busy, but he's given up a lot of runs in the first inning, Mr. Enberg.
And you know who's second in giving up ground ball? The guy we saw this afternoon, Carlos Martinez. So Garcia and the Cardinals looking for 3 wins in a row. The Padres trying to snap that little streak. And they'll bring up Jankowski, Myers, and Kemp here in the first inning. Garcia, born in Reynosa, Mexico, and grew up in Mission, Texas. He was drafted in the 22nd round by the Redbirds 11 years ago. Jankowski ready to go to work, and we're set for the first pitch of the game. And that first pitch is in there. Fastball at 90 miles an hour. Jankowski, 252 average. Had one of the 4 hits in the day game, and he rips that one to right field, but that's to the right fielder. But oh my, Piscotty able to come up and snare it just when it appeared it was going to clear his leaping try. So Jankowski, Rob, the Padres hit a lot of balls hard during the day game, but came up with only 4 hits.
Well, look in your other hand. You'll find a gold watch. That's a nice play for Garcia and Piscotty, really making a difference. Changing direction there. That's probably one of the worst feelings as an outfielder, but he comes up with it.
Ball carried very well in the day game, and looks as if it's going to carry well tonight as well. Will Myers, 1 for 17 since the All-Star game. He's lost 10 points on that batting average, down to 279. Padres need his bat to come alive. He's so key in their offense. An offense that has registered only 2 runs in game 1 and 2 runs and 4 hits in game 2. Outfield plays him to hit to right center. That's been his power slot. Garcia 6'2" and 215. He will turn 30 in a couple of days. 680th player selected overall. It's another one of those Cardinal stories. They can find those gems in the rough. Low, 2-1. Interesting, as we check the umpires, David Rackley is calling balls and strikes, but crew chief Larry Vanover, who was the umpire in the first game, he was absolutely soaked with perspiration. Even an umpire gets a game off. Yep. He's not with the crew tonight. Two and two.
Yeah, I think sometimes we have a tendency to forget. Catchers get a little bit of a break. They go back in their dugout. They can go to the clubhouse. And umpire, both sides, out there for 200 250 pitches a night, maybe more.
A late swing foul by Myers. 0 for 7 in the series. 4 strikeouts make it 5. He struck out all 4 times Monday night. Struck out the first at bat today. Just a bit out of sorts at the moment. Good base hit might turn things around abruptly. Padres hope so. There's a line drive. Base hit to right center. That'll do it. Well struck. So a line out Jankowski, and Myers with a solid single. And here comes Matt Kemp. Cardinals defensively, they've just called up Hazelbaker. We saw him in Anaheim back in April. Jeremy Hazelbaker. Pham in center, Piscotty in right. Jerko, he's in the lineup. They can't get him out of there the way he's hitting Padre pitching. Garcia at short, Wong and Adams on the right side with young Rosario behind the plate for Garcia. Against Jaime Garcia, Kemp has had success. 4 for 11 and 3 runs batted in. And he is homered in each of the last 3 games. Took one out on Sunday at Petco and then homered in the first game here. He also homered Saturday night and Sunday against the Giants, and then homered in game 1 of this series. Rested the day game today. 2-0. Fastball at 91 from Garcia. He'll get it up 92, 93, but he's not going to overpower you.
No, he's not. And he tries to get that angle as well, Dick. He goes from the extreme to third base side of that pitcher's plate. So direct line to the inside corner to right-handed hitters, and a little angle down and away. See his foot right there in touch with the rubber. And, you know, a lot of people might look at that and say, hey, you know, well, what's the difference? Well, I'll tell you what, 6 or 8 inches either way, that's a big difference when it comes from an angle from a lefty or a righty, depending on what side of the pitcher's plate that they throw from.
Harder to hit the outside corner, though, from that position?
Well, through time and experience, you're going to get to that, because if you go there consistently, it's just like any other pitch. You get the good feel for it, you get a good angle for it.
2 balls and a strike now to Kemp as we check our Arco top tier player profile. And Matt Kemp, home run streaks, currently in a 3-game homer streak. He's gone as high as 5 back in 2010 with the Dodgers, and also in that same year a 4-game homer streak. So it tells you when he gets hot, he can keep it going.
Oh yeah, as the summer heats up, so does Matt Kemp.
19 homers on the year. And it's 2-2.
I think Matt wants that last pitch back.
So Saturday against Samardzija. And then Sunday adds another against Cueto.
So nice and easy, effortless.
And then against Leake in Monday night's game. So 3 outstanding pitchers. He took them all deep. Outside, trying to nibble that outside edge, and the count goes full. We'll see whether or not Andy Green has Myers moving here with 1 out and Solarte on deck. Kemp does strike out, so you don't want to get a strikeout, throw him out.
Plus, with the left-hander on the hill, you might want to play it safe and just hold Will Myers.
He goes. And the ball is hit well to right center field. Piscotty racing over and takes it away from Pham for the 2nd out, and Myers scrambles back to first. 3 balls all hit pretty well. Jankowski lines to right. Myers singles sharply to right center, and now Kemp a dying liner to right field. Jan Solarte hit in tough luck in the day game. He lined a single to right his first time up, and then drilled 2 line drive outs to right and to the second baseman on his way to a 1 for 4 afternoon. Hitting right-handed for the first time today. All lefty in the day game. Carlos Martinez, terrific outing again for the Cardinals. He has their best ERA and allowed just the 2 runs in the first inning. Opening double Jankowski and Shemp's 2-run homer, and after that a single by Solarte in the first and only 1 hit from there all the way through the 7th inning.
And if you didn't join us in game 1, they spent about 15 minutes on the field attending to Carlos Martinez with a bloody nose.
Yeah, it looked more serious than that.
Yeah, the guy losing a pint of blood. Kidding. But after that, my goodness, he fell into a groove and he pitched extremely well.
And he's 7 innings, 2 runs, 4 hits, didn't walk a man. There goes Myers, and there goes the line drive into the left field corner. Fitzgerald's trouble. It is a foul ball. This is the scene as the trainer came out to try to halt the bleeding, but he was also dizzy, and he finally rolled back, and he was on the grass for some 15 minutes before he finally stayed in the game and pitched very well.
Oh yeah, let's get up in there. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, okay.
One ball, 1 strike to Solarte. Out of play.
See, he tried to bury that fastball in. Now it's a straight angle. Right-handed hitter. Garcia all the way to the third base side. It's a straight line to the inside part of the dish.
And Rosenbach's had some work, hasn't he? This heat and humidity. It's a common visit for the pitchers to go back there and grab some of that rosin. Good take. No, late call strike. Solarte can't believe it. He's down on strikes, and the Padres send out Paul Clemens, his first San Diego start. That gentleman won't be in the starting lineup for the Cardinals, but these names will be. Brought to you by Hyundai, with Greg Garcia from Valhalla High School and El Cajon starting things. Then Jed Turco, the former Padre. Stephen Piscotty will bat third. Matt Adams in the cleanup slot in front of Tommy Pham. Jeremy Hazelbaker just called up from Memphis, their AAA club. Then Colton Wong at second, hitting 7th. Alberto Rosario, their young backup, at catcher. Yadier Molina gets the night off, at least as a starter, and Jaime Garcia, not a bad hitter. All these Cardinal pitchers can swing the bat. Padres scouting report brought to you by Anderson Plumbing, Heating, and Air.
I talked about Paul Clemens in our open, and a refresher course goes something like this. He's pretty much throws all 4. He's got sink on that fastball. He's a swingman. He can start, he can spot start, but more hits than innings pitched over the course of his career, and the home run is an issue for Paul Clemens, and with this home run hitting team, that's a big key this evening.
One of the reasons Marlins cut him in 5 games, 2 starts with the Marlins. He pitched 13 innings and gave up 5 home runs. Here we go. First pitch strike to Greg Garcia. Padres with the injuries and the trades. A lot of men getting their opportunity to start games. Check swing foul, 0-2. Andy Green noting that this is a very tough road trip. 4 here, then 3 in Washington against the first place Nationals, then up to play 3 at Toronto. No easy spots for his San Diego 9. Of all of his pitches, the one that players rave most about is that curveball. That one didn't break enough.
Well, tonight he's going to have to especially get it down. Fastballs ahead, work out of the zone by design, bounce or throw the curveball at the knees or just below.
Now, while the Padres have set a franchise record, they've never had a home run streak like this, hitting a home run in consecutive games, 17 games in a row. So have the Cardinals been going deep, and they have a 10-game streak of hitting at least 1 home run, and they've hit 3 in each of the first 2 games of this series. A late swing. Drew Pomeranz is now pitching for the Boston Red Sox. He's at home at Fenway Park against the Giants, and we have a game break coming up. We'll see how the left-hander's doing in his new environment. Strike 3 call. Got a call there on the curveball. 1 away. Padres defense now brought to you by your San Diego County Ford dealers. Behind Clemens in the outfield, Dickerson in left, Kemp there in right, and Jankowski in center field. Solarte and Ramirez the usual left side of the infield. Rosales in at second base with Myers at first, and Derek Norris behind the plate for Clemens. Jed Gyorko. He is really swinging a confident bat in game 1 today. He hit in the 7th spot, line to right his first time, hit a 2-run homer, key to the 4-2 win, and then line back to the pitcher. All 3 balls hit right on the nose.
Yeah, he's not missing many mistakes.
This is his 5th game against his former team, San Diego, and all he has done is go 11 for 17 and 4 home runs. Ouch. Whoa, good cut there too. Here's his 2-run shot in the day game. No doubt about it. He hit it straight away to center field, and it didn't land until it had covered some 431 feet.
Well, you know what's important is to hit your spots. That last pitch, even, it was up and away, but he wanted to bury it in. Derek was set up inside, and he didn't get it in there.
Inside this time on the curveball. Didn't break. 2-2. Well, Jed with the Padres in his career in the San Diego uniform hit .236. The way he's been belting the ball against his former teammates, he's raised his average this year up to .253. 9 home runs, 4 against the Padres in 4 games. You can just see how confident he's feeling. Even on a pitch like that, able to spoil it with a late swing.
Oh, swinging at that pitch, it seems to me that a hitter has one thing in mind, that he's going to swing at that pitch where, no matter where it is. That's usually not a pitch that he swings at, especially when you're swinging the bat well.
Two and two. Here it comes. Ground ball deep at third. Foul ball is the call. No play. Well, here just further evidence of how different opposing pitchers have produced against Gyorko. Against anyone but a Padre pitcher, he has 5 home runs in 149 at bats, 5 and 149. In 17 at bats against San Diego pitching, he has 4 home runs. Traded, of course, for John Jay. Jay on the DL with that broken wrist. Out of play deep down the right field side. Crowd still coming in here at Busch Stadium. They had because of the rain yesterday, the tickets all were moved forward to the day game today. 40,184 tickets sold. There are only 11,191 were in the stands, but there'll be around 40,000 for the attendance tonight. Most of them clad in red. Another foul.
You know what? You cannot go 3 people deep without them wearing red or slash Cardinals gear. I walk through the concourse here between games. It's like, okay, 1, 2, see, Cardinals. They're wearing red. That counts. I mean, you can't look at Redbirds. There's a shirt there.
Young, old.
You can't go 3 deep.
All sizes, all types. Curveball ripped into left field. I mean, he is just as hot as any hitter we've seen. Another hit against the Padres. Goodness. That'll bring up Stephen Piscotty and a look at the keys to the game, brought to you by your San Diego Honda dealers.
No home runs, plain and simple, for the Redbirds. Just too many. Got to keep them in the ballpark. And early lead, keep that lead. Let's go deep into the ball game. You know it's going to be a bullpen game with Paul Clemens out there. I think that's a given. You've got the 26th man, Keith Hessler, out there. So hopefully the bullpen can maintain the lead, keep the lead if they get the lead.
Piscotty, the right fielder, hitting just a tick under 300. It's not called a strike. 1-0. 1 for 4 in the day game. Piscotty. He's the only Cardinal over the 100 hit mark. 101 on the season. Right in the heart of the plate, but he missed it. Last time he was on the mound to start a game was with Miami against the Cubs in June. 4 earned runs, 5 walks, 4 strikeouts.
Yeah, the whip just under 2 for Paul Clemens, meaning walks and hits combined each innings pitch. He's out there pitching with either a runner or 2 the majority of the time. That's a lot about the stretch.
He's worked up a good lather, and we're just in the first inning with 1 out. Off first, Myers by the Cardinal dugout, and that's out number 2. Brings up cleanup hitter Matt Adams. Adams doing damage in the opening game of the series with a pinch 2-run double. Day game today, he flied out 3 times and doubled and scored. He gets the ball in the air.
It looks like the outfield kind of straight away, just a step or 2 in center field for Jankowski, but playing on the deep side, respecting that power.
Rosales out in shallow right field, and Solarte moves over to the second base side. Again, ball right in part of the plate, but fouled off. Don't want to keep flirting with that pitch. Curve hangs, 1-1. He looks big. He is big. 260 pounds of first baseman Adams, who's going to be 28 next month. Fouled into the glove of Norris.
Now that's exactly where Paul Clemens needs to be, on the corners, knee high, in and out, go up and out of the zone by design. hopefully get the kid they call Big City out and get back in that dugout.
Injury plagued was Adams last year. Got only 175 at bats, 60 games.
Bounce a curveball right here.
Hit to left field, slicing into foul territory, and Dickerson can't get to it.
Oh, how nice. That youngster going to give up that baseball for another. Looks like he's looking to
share the wealth.
Yeah.
Huh? The ushers making sure everyone's okay. Foul down at the ankles of Norris. Product of Slippery Rock University, Pennsylvania.
A great name for a university, huh?
It sure is. Can be a slippery slope. You don't get to class on time. Uh-oh, that ball drilled to right field and over the head of Kemp. Bounces against the wall with 2 outs. Running all the way is Jerko. Here comes the relay by Rosales to the plate, and Jerko is a goner. He is out.
Wait a second. That might have been a ground rule double.
And now the first base umpire coming in, waving his hand, saying that ball hit a fan out there in right field on that high bounce, and that'll be a break for the Cardinals because Jerko definitely was out at the plate. The umpires going to converse, and was it or was it not? It's hard to tell. A little blurry on the bounce there. Kemp, had it gone into the crowd, especially with 2 outs, he would have probably given a single. Come on, that's a ground rule double. This may be overruled without a replay. Well, they're going to call it a ground rule double. That's a break for Mike Matheny's Cardinals.
Well, I've got a question about the ground rule out there because it looked like it was really tough to see if a fan touched it, because I think it did definitely bounce up over. What? See the padded fence and then the signage there?
Oh,
Okay.
that's a double wall there. That
Yeah.
black signage is beyond the shorter wall.
Got it.
And that's clearly then a ground rule double.
Yep.
Got to get that extra advertising in, so you do double walls. That plays in the favor of the home team. Here's Tommy Pham. He's had only 62 at bats with 16.
Yeah, up in
base
this,
hits.
as you mentioned, Dick, up in this area, right here, up above that line. That's if it bounces there, it's if it bounces over, it's a home run, or it's a ground rule double. If it goes over there on the fly, it's a home run.
Big swing and a foul tip for Pham. So Jerko back to third. Adams with a double. Clemens trying to pitch out of trouble here in the first inning. Curveball doesn't get the call. 2-1. David Reckley, tight strike zone.
Yeah, this curveball here, Derek Norris tries to frame it. And once again, it's the catcher being set up, and I know, you know, it's where the ball lands.
Two hopper to the second baseman Rosales, and that'll do it for the first inning. So runners left at second and third for the Cardinals. We go to the second. No score. All right, Mike and Mark, and of course the Giants, with losing 4 in a row, lost last night, and the Dodgers have pulled within 4.5 of the lead in the NL West. Derek Norris rested in the day game. 1 ball and 1 strike. Norris with a dozen home runs. Then Dickerson and Rosales here in the top of the 2nd. Again. Well, the day games have been a plague for the Padres. They lose again in a day game. They're 7-24. But does it surprise you, fans, that the night record for the Padres is 34-29? They like it.
Yeah, they like it under the candles, huh?
You bet.
You know, the majority of hitters that I've talked to say they like to hit during the day. The natural light rather than the artificial light at a ballpark. But these ballparks nowadays are so well lit.
How about you? Do you like to pitch in day or pitch at night?
I like to pitch at during the daytime because when it was hot and white, I like to get that sweaty feeling. Get, like you mentioned, the rosin on the ball and on your hand, get that sticky. You get a good feel for the baseball. I always felt there's more action on the pitches too during a nice, hot, humid day.
Full count now to the Padre catcher. Padres did not earn a walk in the first game. High fly ball on the infield. 4 Cardinals converge. Jerko wants it. 1 away. And here's Alex Dickerson. Hitting at .250 in game 1. Was 0 for 3. Like many of the Padres, hit the ball on the nose a couple of times. Nothing to show for it.
Remember what Steve Finley told us when he went down to the minor leagues talking about Alex Dickerson? He was hitting balls on the sweet spot. He was squaring it up, hitting a lot of line drives, and he's done just that when he puts the ball in play. He hits the ball consistently hard.
Swing and a miss at a 91 mile an hour fastball. Yeah, he was hitting around 400. Former Indiana University Hoosier. He was the Big Ten Player of the Year there in Bloomington. Poway High School. 1-1. One of 2 left-handed hitters in Andy Green's lineup, joining Jankowski against the lefty Garcia. There's another shot right to the glove of Garcia, and he throws him out. That's hitting a tough luck. That's a 3rd line drive out. The first 6 men to face Garcia.
Talk about hockey suit coming right back at you. My goodness. Jaime Garcia, great reaction, knocks it down. And once again, Alex Dickerson, for a big kid, he gets down that line very quickly. Just bad luck, Alex. Just keep swinging. Nothing you can do there. Man.
So 2 outs to Adam Rosales. Half a dozen home runs for the Padre infielder. 197 average. Gets a call. Does Garcia.
Adam's got some family in attendance down from the Chicagoland area, which is nice. Just straight down 55, about 5 hours, don't you know? Straight shot.
Freeway all the way. Chicago.
Yeah, but bad central Illinois. Not a lot to look at.
Well, if you're
A lot of farmland, very flat.
Oh, hey, what's wrong with beautiful farmland? Come on now. Corn needs a hug now and then too, you know. Not just umpires.
Summertime and corn on the cob, right?
You got it.
Oh yeah.
There's a few watermelon patches too.
Oh, believe that.
We're talking about this is melon time here. Cantaloupes, muskmelons, as we call them.
And then some dessert, some rhubarb pie that Grandma would make.
Oh yes, with the little strawberry and rhubarb.
Oh yeah.
3-1 now to Rosales. Just at the knees.
Well, you can see that Garcia, he's trying to pound right-handed hitters inside. I mean, a couple of pitches this at bat up and over the plate, and that last pitch kind of down. But they're consistently trying to tie up right-handed hitters. Go something soft away here.
Nothing in the heart of the plate.
No.
And that's ball 4. And racing to first base is Rosales. That's the first free ticket of the entire day from Cardinal pitching. Brings up Alexei Ramirez, 2 for 5 in the series. An hour earlier for the final game of the series tomorrow. We'll be on the air at 4 o'clock. Interesting matchup. Andrew Cashner against Adam Wainwright.
Once again, another pitch in. Here's Andrew. His name has been thrown about. A lot of trade speculation. Hey, everybody's name is thrown out there. GMs are throwing names all over the place.
No, it really is a time for fishing, isn't it?
Yeah, good call. Good analogy.
See if anyone wants to bite, and if so, what is the return?
What kind of bait are they using, though, right?
Yeah. So there's the matchup tomorrow night, and that should be a good one. Wainwright, 9-5 record, but look at his ERA. It's up unusually high for him.
And Andrew really threw the ball extremely well his last time out, going to that more of that four-seamer, touching the high 90s.
There's Wainwright, the former high school All-State place kicker. Line drive caught by Jerko on a short hop, and the throw across in time. Well, Jerko is doing everything right. Send him to a higher league. Another line drive out. 2 innings, 4 liners, 4 outs. Oh my.
He deserves every bit of recognition he gets. He's an unbelievable teammate, a great competitor. He's gone out and hit right at 300. When he got hurt, he was leading the league in doubles. But that pales in comparison to like the impact he has with how involved he is in every single game. As soon as he sits on the bench with a cast on his hand and like isn't invested as anybody else. Like is not quitting, is not giving days away. He wants to impact guys. He loves the game. He's fully immersed in everything we're doing every single day.
You hear baseball players say all the time, well, does he play the game the right way? Well, Jon Jay is that such guy. He plays the game the right way, and he was just awarded yesterday by the MLB Players Alumni Association the Heart and Hustle Award for 2016. Third time he's won the award. Prior years, 2010, 2011, with the Cardinals. And of course, he exemplifies those exact attributes that Andy Green was just talking about, sitting on the sidelines with the cast, but still so incredibly involved in the game. And this is the only award, by the way, you guys, that's voted on by former players. So that says something. Jon Jay said it was an incredible honor to honor his work ethic and his sincere passion for the game. Well deserved.
Yes, indeed. It represents a man both on and off the field, his heart and his hustle and his contribution to his team and to his community. And Colton Wong, after Solarte made a good play at the dugout of the Padres to take Hazelbaker's pop fly. Here it is again.
Getting a lot of help from his teammates, coaches. They'll tell you, you got room, you got room, you got room. And then after the play, then you need a little help from your friends. Hey, help them out a little bit there. And there is Coach Glenn Hoffman pushing him back into play.
The Heart and Hustle nominee from the Cardinals this year is right fielder Stephen Piscotty. So each team, the former players, name the Heart and Hustle Award, and then it's voted nationally, and one will go to New York and be so honored as representing all of the major leagues. High fly ball to Jankowski, called off by Dickerson in left center for the second out. Alberto Rosario, the young catcher, steps up. He's 2 for 7 since being recalled. Mike Matheny, of course, a Gold Glove winner as a catcher. His distinguished career behind the plate. 4 times he won the Gold Glove in his 13 seasons.
It's kind of a shame because the concussion got Mike Matheny. I mean, more and more we hear it these days.
Ground ball right to Ramirez, across to Myers, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Paul Clemens. On to the third in St. Louis. Well, we hope you at home are feeling good and fine and awesome on this Wednesday night. Thank you for joining us. Dick Enberg with Mark Grant, Julie Alexandria. And there, the top of the beautiful arch here in St. Louis, and the viewing spots. Take a sled up the arch, and you have a chance to look out over the city and on to the. I think you can see Utah from up there.
Yeah, I think you can see. What is it? 4 states from the arch.
Wouldn't be surprised.
If you can take going up in a little cylinder, and it doesn't bother you, it's worth going up there and checking it out.
Yeah. You need to have a few MRIs before you can make the trip up there.
Yeah.
Here's Paul Clemens. Starts the third and grounds one deep to short. Garcia with a long throw and one away. Well, the Cardinals have been the worst fielding team in the National League, but you wouldn't know it by how they've played in this series, making some good plays indeed behind their pitching. In between innings, Melvin Upton not in the starting lineup, and bench coach Mark McGwire, of course, had some great seasons here in the St. Louis Cardinal uniform, talking hitting. Process from day one in spring training all the way through the playoffs. You're constantly teaching, and if you're smart, you're going to constantly try to learn to be better.
Yeah, it looks like they're talking weight transfer, hands when your foot is down. And we take a look at Big Mac Land. That they had that over at Busch 2. Incorporating still over here.
Jankowski lined to right to open the game. And take strike one. Tried to bunt for a base hit in the day game, and Molina able to make a quick play from behind the dish out in front of home plate and just did throw him out. Called a strike, 0-2.
Yeah, if Travis can master that, dragging that bunt down the first base, and that's a knock every time. Just takes a lot of practice, which he does.
.92, more on that one, but high and away.
Rosenbach's getting a workout. Tell you what, when you sweat in weather like this, that's why you see guys. A lot of guys wear the long sleeves, so that perspiration doesn't get down onto your hand. Your sleeves will catch it, but as a pitcher, man, your forearms, they get glistening. Look at that. Gets down onto your hand, onto the ball.
Way outside. Since the spitter is illegal, why then can't a smart pitcher use that perspiration to put,
Oh, they can.
Okay.
Sure they can. I'm sure there are guys that can master that, no doubt.
2-2.
I think they should legalize that pitch.
Spitter?
Sure, why not? Have some fun with it.
Well, you want them to use pine tar, pitchers to use pine tar on the ball.
Sure, if hitters can use pine tar on the bat, why not on the ball?
Spoken like a true member of the pitching fraternity. Foul tip, strike three. That is the second strikeout for Garcia as we go to great moments in MLB history, brought to you by Geico. On September 7th, 1998, in front of an exuberant St. Louis home crowd against the arch rival Cubs, Mark McGwire hit his 61st home run to tie Roger Maris's record. He would go on to hit 70 home runs in that 98 season. I don't think I'd want to do high fives or high forearms with him.
Broken forearm for sure, you bet.
2 outs to Will Myers, who has the only Padre hit here in this night game. Lined a single to right center the first time up. You a card player, Mark?
I am not a card player because my attention span, and you know too well my attention span, Professor.
Well, but with your ability to remember things, I mean, just remote information, you should be able
Useless
to.
information, you mean?
Well, no, maybe. That you should be able to remember how cards are played, and
Not really. No, I'm not good with numbers. I'm not good with numbers, or like the ability to like count cards and look into the
I ask only because I don't play cards either, but the World Poker. I think I'm going to start taking up poker. Yeah, because there's big money in those hills. Yeah. I'll give you that
Texas,
information.
like Texas Hold'em?
I don't know what you do. Hold them, fold them, scold them. I mean, the winner of that World Poker Championship, you know, they started with thousands of guys, and they reduced it down to, I think, like the 4 best.
Right.
The winner is going to make $8 million.
Come on.
$8 million for playing a little card game, huh?
I know there's a skill to it. I'm still trying to find it out. I don't know how they do it, but there are definitely skilled players out there, year in and year out.
I think there must be, memory has to come into play. I know in gin, you've got to have a great memory to know how your opponents have played certain cards and why are they keeping this and why didn't they throw you that.
I can play Go Fish.
Yeah, I like War. I was good at War.
War's good too.
$8 million.
It's a lot of dough.
Our friend Richard Lederer, you know, the wordsmith for the UT, and hope he visits us again before the season's out. His, I think it's his daughter or son is, you know, professional poker player.
Yep.
I guess it's in the family that both the son and daughter.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe in my next life.
That's one thing I never got into is the gambling thing. I just
hate to lose.
Yeah.
Tough enough to lose, and then they take your money too.
I know.
That's why they created Penny Ante.
That's right. Keep it friendly.
In the dirt, and Myers has worked the count full.
There's a huge gap. Boy, I tell you what, he's given that each pitch. He's going to the rosin bag, then going to the dirt to get that sweat off that hand of his. And look at his cheeks too. It's like somebody just hosed him down.
Out of play just to finish up that World Poker Championship. 6,737 entered. The runner-up in the finals will get $4.66 million.
Not bad.
And a fellow here from St. Louis, Mike Gorodinsky, he finished a robust 87th. All he gets out of that is $57,000.
It's a nice payday.
Yeah. So much for that. There's another base hit. So Myers, after having some struggles, gets that line drive single the first time up and whips one to right field for another hit. That's the way that Andy Green likes to see it.
You know, even the foul balls off the bat of Will Myers, he's got the right intention, the right idea of trying to go the other way. The hands come through first and the barrel to follow, and hit the ball squarely on the line, right center and right field.
So he personifies the day-night problems for the Padres. At day games, he's hitting .222. Night, he's hitting .307. 16 of his 20 home runs at night. Well, the Padres, with 2 outs, have a man aboard for Matt Kemp, who lined out to right his first at bat. The fun thing about poker is that you can bluff somebody.
Oh,
right?
yeah,
you,
absolutely.
You could have a terrible hand and
Sure.
you kind of read your opponent, say, you know, I think he might go for this.
That's why a lot of guys wear sunglasses now. Trying to play it cool so they can't see the eyes.
Pulled the third foul. So I'm getting this information from our crack staff down in the truck that they, you know, they play in between innings. They throw a couple of hands in there and they've got a good pot going.
I understand, like it's a $10,000 buy-in.
Oh, that's what they're telling you. Well, I think you mean in the truck or into the world.
The truck is higher stakes.
2 strikes to Kemp. Inside. I tried when I was in college and first married, because we didn't have any money. We played bridge. I tried to learn how to play bridge.
I still don't understand that game.
Well, and you don't play that for money. But I knew I wasn't cut out to play bridge when I'd get some bad hands and I'd just throw the cards down and not wipe out everyone's hand. I probably wasn't a good sport about losing. So everyone decided just to keep some friendships alive, just don't play anymore. He got him picked off, and he dropped the ball. Did Adams at first base, and Myers into second.
Looks like Adams was too quick on the transfer. And with the left-hander Garcia out there, Will Myers, he's going on the first move. Got to go. Okay, now here we go. Low throw. Myers cannot come up with it cleanly on the transfer. Once again, it was not the best throw from Garcia.
Credit Myers with his 17th stolen base. So go ahead score here, break the scoreless tie. Kemp at the plate leads the team in RBIs, 62. But not this time. Third strikeout for Garcia. Myers left at second. Leading off the Cardinals will be the pitcher Garcia. This, Jan. So Larte checking out that dugout railing and reaching in and taking that ball up in the webbing of the glove. Well done. Our Bill Howe play of the game. Didn't have to wait 9 innings for that one.
Yeah, no nacho cheese on that one either. That one comes out clean.
Not nearly as much fun, huh?
Right.
He got a lot of publicity. He hit that more than any home run, any base hit in his career, that nacho catch.
Back at Petco, diving into the stands, right into somebody's nacho cheese, coming up with the big out.
I'd like to see that again. I wonder if we could find that. Probably not.
Oh, the guys in the truck, they can do it all.
Probably not. Garcia is 5 for 27. And takes a strike. 5 hits, all singles. Martinez had a hit and 3 at bats in the day game. He has 10 hits. Mike Leake has 7 hits, including he scored a run and singled in game 1. 0-2 the count.
Hey, by the way, Mike Leake, I want to thank Mike. Be sure to stay tuned for the post-game show with Mike and Mark. I sat down with Mike 8.5 minutes. That's going to be tomorrow night for after Thursday night's game.
Yeah, so
tomorrow
good they
night.
want to save it for another game.
And he was kind enough to come over, and we knocked out an interview. So good kid. You know, I've always been a Mike Leake fan, the way he pitches, but after meeting him, I'm even a bigger fan.
Fallbrook High School, one of San Diego's own, and Arizona State University. Academic star as well as a great pitcher. High fly ball hit to deep left field. This could be trouble. Dickerson on his horse and makes the catch, going away. With that screen fence coming up to greet him, Dickerson makes an outstanding play. Now listen, these St. Louis fans, this is what I like about Cardinal fans. They're giving the opposing team's player a hand for making a good defensive play.
Yep, always known for that. Appreciate good play, no matter if it's a Red Board or a Padre or a Dodger or a Brave. Yeah, nice play and a round of applause.
Pitcher Garcia threatening to nail a double to left center, and Dickerson, a little robbery out there and left. So one away, and to the top of the order, Greg Garcia. Yeah, that's the way I was taught as a kid, that you don't have to stand up and cheer vociferously for an opposing team making a great play. That's for your own team. But when they do make one like that, give them a hand. I mean, that's part of appreciating this great game of baseball. Garcia took a third strike his first time. He's had only 79 at bats on the season, hitting at .316. Slow breaking ball at 73 for a strike. 0-2.
Now, the way Greg Garcia is wearing his uniform, I love. I mean, the socks with this Cardinal uniform, those socks really pay it off. I just love that look. It looks like they're Red Sox, not really stirrups.
Yeah, I would take a little more white sanitary stocking, or now that's all one. A little stirrup look would really complete the.
You know, those are stirrups. It looks like he's got Red Sox underneath the stirrups, because I saw a little bit of a loop there up top on the top of the shoe in the back.
These look like the old-fashioned wool socks. One hopper, Rosales on a knee to throw him out. That ball hit hard. Good play by the second baseman.
Nice play.
2 away. Well, guess what, fans? Hey, this might be it. It might be nacho time. Solarte. Ordinary? No. Extraordinarily good. Take a bite out of that one. Look at that. Oh, that was a wonderful light moment. Well done. I was wrong again. See, I didn't think they'd ever be able to get to find that. Uh-oh. I guess Jerko found it again. Can you believe what he's doing against the Padres? 10 home runs this year. He's just hit his 5th in 5 games against San Diego. Come on. Single and a home run for Jerko. Now, that's hard to do. 5 games, 5 home runs. He's now 12 for 19 against San Diego pitching. Sizzling. And the Cardinals' home run rampage continues.
And once again, you're flirting with disaster when you throw it right down the middle, and it's thigh high. Just been giving him too many good pitches to whack at and do some damage.
Slow curveball in for a strike. He homered against Dominguez, did Jerko in game 1 of the series. Then today, number back to the mound to Clemens, homered against the starter Colin Ray, and now he takes Clemens deep, and he had 2 home runs in 2 games at Petco. tools of the trade.
We're going to look into Jaime Garcia, the left-hander on the mound for the Cardinals, and it's all about location. He doesn't throw that hard against the Marlins. Look, he wanted it down and away. This one leaks middle in. What do you know? Extra base hit. And once again, when you don't throw hard, you can't get away with hitting mistakes up the zone. And just a little bit extended to Giancarlo Stanton, taking him the other way. He's pounding right-handers inconsistently tonight. And he finds himself with a 1-0 lead via the Jedd Gyorko home run.
3 home runs for the Cardinals in game 1. All 3 accounting for the 4 runs. And now the first run of this nightcap on Gyorko's homer. And we're not exaggerating when you check the home runs hit in these 3 games. All of them have been pitches right up into his wheelhouse.
Yeah, it seems like the pitchers have not made an adjustment of hitting their spots. And Jedd Gyorko was hitting mistakes. He's in a tear right now to where you cannot throw him a mistake. He is going to capitalize on it, make you pay.
395 feet on the home run. But his single first time up was a line drive, and in the day game hit the 2-run homer to deep center field, 431 feet, but the other 2 at bats he lined out to right and lined out to the pitcher. How does the weather? Solarte doesn't chase that often. 2-2.
Good changeup from Garcia.
Jan struck out his first time, took a 3rd strike. Garcia has 3 punch outs. Only 2 hits allowed, both by Wil Myers. Oh, nice pick by the shortstop Garcia. Boy, the defense of the Cardinals has been superb. A lot of balls well hit for out.
You know, it's funny because, you know, first game of a series, I'll go talk to the announcers and get a read on what's been going on with each ball club. And, you know, they said, you know what they said, quote, the defense has been atrocious for the Cardinals. It's been poor, but making some good plays recently, and Greg Garcia makes one heck of a play right there at short.
Derek Norris popped up to 3rd his first time. 1-0 Redbirds here in the top of the 4th. Another well hit ball, a screamer on one hop to Gyorko, and Norris is out. It's almost unfair how hard the balls are being hit by the Padres and nothing to show for it.
Well, MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, delivers everything you have come to expect and more. Watch every out-of-market game in live HD and over 400 supported devices. Includes a free subscription to @Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Just visit MLB.TV for details.
Speaking of hard hit balls, Alex Dickerson the first time up almost undressed the pitcher Garcia. A self-defense line drive snared by Garcia. Ball and a strike. Breaking ball in the dust. That's routine to Adams. 3-1 on the putout. A 1-2-3 inning. Balls hit well, nothing to show. Middle of the 4th, 1-0 Gyorko. Mark, and I look at the National League East with the Nationals building a 4.5 game lead. Miami, one of the wild card teams in terms of their record at this stage of the year. New York right there 6 back. Matt Adams, the cleanup hitter, leads it off here in the 4th inning. 1-0 Cardinals. Cardinals have had trouble winning at home. They were 21-28 coming into this series. Take the first 2 games. That has everyone here, including manager Mike Matheny, puzzled. Just finished a rough weekend series with Miami. Dodgers come in for the weekend. Line foul.
Look out.
It was great to see one of the outstanding umpires of all time, Bill Haller, came to say hello to you, Mark Grant. Had a chance to shake his hand again. Did many of the games back in my California Angel days.
Yeah, good man, good umpire, huh?
You always knew Haller because you're very tall and lean. One of the tallest umpires.
One of the last umpires that used the pillow.
That's right. Swing and a miss. Way out in front is Adams, and that's the 2nd strikeout for Paul Clemens.
Bill now lives about 80 miles north of St. Louis. As we take a look at the breaking ball, now that's a darn good breaking ball. Getting it out in front, good tilt to it, and with 2 strikes, it looks too good of a pitch to just lay off. And look at the jersey of Paul Clemens. I mean, he's soaked. You can see right around the buttons, it seems a little dry because it's a lighter color, but the whole jersey just drenched.
It's a sauna in St. Louis. You know, and what's interesting, we asked him about some of the pitchers who had the most powerful fastball and who were some of the better hitters. You know, in many ways, the umpires can't give their vote on all of that because that's not their role. But after they retire, and especially for Halls of Fame, things like that, they're not a bad resource at all to say, what did you think? In fact, the name Tony Oliva came up in our conversation, and he said Oliva should be in the Hall of Fame. He's one of the greatest hitters I ever stood behind, as good as Carew. That's his opinion.
You know, that's a great point, Dick, because I mean they're close to the action and they see it. We watch it on TV and we don't get up close and personal, but the umpires sure do. So their opinion is very valuable.
I asked him about Nolan Ryan. Was he the fastest ever that you called balls and strikes? And he said, well, he was right there, the fastest, but he came up with a surprising name, I thought. Dick Raditz, remember, the big right-hander for the Red Sox.
Sure.
He said he threw as hard as anyone. Three and one.
I've known Bill since I was a kid because my mom and dad grew up in Lockport, Illinois, which is south of Chicago, about 40 miles. And Bill and Tom and his family grew up there. They went to high school.
Tom Heller, of course, the catcher, the brother of Bill.
Yeah, and Tom passed away about 10 years ago. And so I've known him since a kid. If you want to have some fun, go to YouTube. In the search bar, put in Bill Haller, Earl Weaver argument and have some fun with that one.
Pham with a 1-out walk here in the 4th inning. Well, down on the farm, here's a note from Fort Wayne. Anderson Espinosa, the latest acquisition, the 18-year-old acquired by the Padres from the Red Sox in the trade with Drew Pomeranz, goes 3 innings, allows 7 hits, 4 runs, gets his feet wet at Fort Wayne. Live arm, 95 to 98 miles an hour. Jerry Hazelbaker fouled out. That was the catch made by Jan Solarte, leaning over the railing at third base dugout. Cardinals are not a running team. They'll pick some spots, but the leading base stealer has only 4.
Yeah, they sit back, wait for the 3-run shot. They're last in the National League in stolen bases.
Heart of the plate. 0-1. He's 28 years of age. Hazelbaker from Wapahani, Indiana. Went to Ball State. They're the Redbirds too. Yeah, they're the Cardinals as well.
Yeah,
so he's
that's
been
right.
a Cardinal most of his adult life. Slaps that foul.
Illinois State.
They're the Redbirds as well.
Yeah. You know, one of my favorite nicknames, and since we're here in St. Louis, St. Louis University.
Billikens.
The Billikens.
Now, what is a billiken?
I think it's a bird.
No, I don't think it's a bird, is it? It's like an ogre or a giant. I'm asking, I'm just guessing here what it is.
Somebody just told me it's a cherub? Boy.
A seraph?
A cherub with wings?
Well, Google will have the answer. I wonder if anyone around here has a phone. It's a Google, and you push there, and then you hit that number. Push that.
Google University.
Wonder what their nickname is. 0-2. Checks a swing on a breaking ball, doesn't go.
The Billiken is a charm doll created by an American art teacher and illustrator, Florence Pretz of Kansas City, Missouri.
A charmed doll?
Charm doll.
Charm doll. It's an odd nickname for a sports enterprise. St. Louis U.
Mythical good luck figure. Not a
there
bad
you
name.
go.
Yeah,
Good.
very good.
Easy Ed Macaulay, one of the great basketball players out of St. Louis University. And Rick Majerus, who coached under Al McGuire, coached here at St. Louis. Had a couple of really good seasons.
Ooh, he had him leaning.
Yeah, that's a good nickname, but you know, there's really only one.
The old Chippewas.
The Chippewas. That's probably the best nickname.
Fight on chips.
Yeah. Even our producer, Max Mitchell, chimes in. He agrees with me. 1-0 here in the fourth. Pham at first. 1-2 to Hazelbaker.
Well, the Padres are thinking right along with Pham over their first base. He may be going. You never know. He was leaning that one time. Last pickoff prior to that pickoff we just saw, it looked like he kind of leaned a little bit towards second base.
Interesting motion by Clemens. He almost sidearms his pickoff move. Here he goes. Swing and a miss. Throw not in time. Had to throw from his knees. And Pham with a rare steal as Hazelbaker strikes out.
Well, the Cardinals probably picking something up on Paul Clemens. Does he use the regular leg kick, the high leg kick? It is the high leg kick, and Pham picks the perfect pitch to go. Derek doing everything he can from behind the plate with the quick release from the knees. Can't get it there in time.
First steal of the season for Pham.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the San Diego Padres. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the San Diego Padres.
Padre fan enjoying a nice wad of bubble gum. Makes you a little better ball player, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Able to blow a good bubble.
Future big leaguer right there.
Colton Wong flied to left his first time. Kelton knows the right from. Ian Garcia in the starting lineup for the Cardinals. Teammates at Hawaii. inside edge.
Boy, he uses that high leg kick.
Be interesting on a night like this to have the starting pitcher before he goes out to warm up, weigh him, and then weigh him when he leaves the game. I mean, it's got to be a remarkable reduction of pounds. Another strike. Off speed curve.
In fact, they're trying to pound him inside there. That breaking ball left over the heart of the plate, but up, taken by Wong.
2 away here in the 4th. Pham out at second. A walk and a steal for him. Curveball just a little low. Boy, on a night like this, you want every pitch you can get.
I said it in game 1. You know, you throw 50 pitches, it feels like 70, 75 if you're not used to it. The legs get a little heavy, arm starts to drag a little bit.
Pitching in Miami and Houston, but pitching indoors. Not the heat and humidity you have to fight here in St. Louis or across the state in Kansas City.
And it's not like that for everybody. I mean, there are guys who can go out there and battle the heat and humidity and have no problem with it if they're accustomed to it.
2-2. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Strikes out the side does Paul Clemens in the 4th. And we move to the 5th inning here at Busch Stadium, St. Louis, with the Cardinals in front, 1-0. And yes, if you're just joining us, Gyorko has homered in 5 games. He started against the Padres this year. He's homered in all 5 games. And it's a 1-0 St. Louis advantage. And look from the Mississippi into the city of St. Louis, right through the Gateway Arch. Adam Rosales, then Ramirez and Clemens to bat here in the top of the 5th inning against Jaime Garcia. Rosales walked his first time. Takes a strike. Players with homers in 5 straight against the Padres, a limited number: Chipper Jones, Barry Bonds, Albert Pujols, Sammy Sosa, that all figures, and Jed Gyorko.
Thanks to AJ Casaval from the UT for giving us that little nugget there.
And being such a fine gentleman to share knowledge, we'll give him a nugget right back.
In fact, I want to correct myself, Dick. MLB.com. MLB.com for AJ.
Swinging bunt and unable to field it is Gyorko, and Rosales is aboard. Probably The official score will see that as a base hit. Usually the charge and having to make the barehanded pickup and throw goes to the hitter. We'll see.
Yeah, with the way that Rosales runs, we know that he sprints everything. 90 feet, 180 feet, home run. We've seen it before.
Hit. So the leadoff man on for the first time for the Padres in the game. Brings up Ramirez, smashed one to third. Jerko made a really good play on it back in the second. Third hit for the Padres, the other two Will Myers. So I'm going to throw a name out here, and I know that you don't know it, and probably no one in our audience knows it, but it's just a setup for this nugget. The name is Mal Eason. M-A-L, Mal Eason, E-A-S-O-N. He's part of a very interesting piece of baseball history involving the St. Louis Cardinals.
Can
Fouled
I play
away.
like 5 questions? Was he a player?
He was a pitcher for the Brooklyn Dodgers. And on this day, 1906, so 110 years ago, Mal Eason for the Dodgers threw a no-hitter against the Cardinals. It's the only no-hit game against St. Louis in St. Louis in 110 years.
That's impressive.
That
really is.
And we talk about the Padres looking for their first no-hitter, but the Cardinals have not been no-hit at home in 110 years. Our thanks to Rick Hummel, the Hall of Fame writer here at the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, who shared that with us.
Rick's a good egg.
Two balls and a strike to Ramirez. Padres trying to take advantage of a leadoff scratch hit off the bat of Rosales.
Well, you know, like hitters going to the batting gloves, redoing the Velcro. It seems like Jaime Garcia, Rosenbach, dirt before every pitch out there on that mound because of the amount of sweat on his arm and hand.
Another foul.
And also, you know, you can't go to your uniform and wipe dry because your uniform's soaking wet.
That's right. Yeah, where are the dry spots? Yeah.
Rosenbach, drop it, go to the dirt.
Yeah, put pretty good soil on the baseball. 2-2 to Ramirez. Cardinal infield set for a possible double play chance. And they get one right up the middle, but it goes through into center field, and running all the way is Rosales. He'll skip his way to third, and the Padres have runners at the corners here in the 5th inning with no one out. Boy, that was a seeing eye single for Alexei Ramirez.
Well, hit it in the right spot with Garcia falling off the side a little bit. You'll see this ball go right by Garcia. He tries to do the old backhand, nothing going there. Placed perfectly, and the ground ball to the center fielder places Padres at the corners.
Boy, he split Garcia and Wong. They almost ran into each other. The Padres won't go to a pinch hitter here in the 5th inning. Clemens is going to bat for himself. And at the very worst, the sacrifice must be out. Move that runner from first to second. Take your chances top of the lineup with Jankowski.
Hey, and if Adam Rosales gets a good read on a bunt down the first base line, he can score.
He goes after a ball well out of the strike zone. Bunts it foul. He's 0 for 2 hitting this year. I guess if you're 0 for, you're not hitting, you're batting this year.
Right. I got you.
Stick with me.
I'm right there with you for you, Professor.
First and third. No one out. Padres a chance here, trailing 1-0. Strike 2. Trying to push the bunt toward first. Rosales in company of Glenn Hoffman there at third. Trying to send a signal out that'll produce a run. Padres have not scored now in 12 consecutive innings. They scored their 2 runs in the first inning of the day game and nothing since. Garcia hasn't thrown him a strike. And he doesn't on that pitch either, and down goes Clemens. 4th strikeout for the lefty. And that'll bring up Jankowski, line to right and struck out. Be interesting to know the history of the rosin bag, since Jaime Garcia is visiting it on every pitch. When it first was introduced to the game, you almost wonder if it goes back to the spitball days when they banned the spitball and they said, well, we'll give you some advantage. We'll throw a stick-em bag out there.
Also, rosin's used for violinists too, right?
Jankowski takes a strike just on the outside corner. And he squares the bunt, had Jurko charging hard. That first baseman locked on the bag to hold on the runner. Jankowski lays down a bunt toward first and get himself an RBI. Outside. We have the final game of this 4-game series tomorrow night, 4 o'clock our TV time. Back to San Diego on Fox Sports San Diego. There's the routine again. Andrew Cashner for the Padres against Adam Wainwright, 9-5 for the Redbirds. And then on to the nation's capital for 3 on the weekend. Going to head up to Cooperstown for the weekend, and
got to be looking forward to that, huh?
Delighted that they've asked me, and I'm very honored that Graham McNamee is the Ford Frick winner this year. McNamee, the pioneer of sports broadcasting, of course, is no longer with us, and they asked me to read the plaque that Joe Morgan read mine last year. And
very nice, Professor. That's quite an honor.
It is indeed. I'm very pleased. Outside, 2-1.
I can just picture you now at Cooperstown at that beautiful hotel, sitting down in one of those Adirondack chairs on the porch, just soaking it all in. Not having to worry about giving a speech.
Oh, that's the best part. You know, I don't have to give a speech. I have to just read the plaque. And then they have a big dinner with all the players and their wives, all the Hall of Famers. And then Sunday, of course, the big induction ceremony. Griffey and Piazza joining the illustrious list of the best players in the history of this game. 2-1 to Jankowski. And there's the bunt. Will there make a play at the plate? The throw is in time. Boy, that's a quick reaction by Garcia. He had to field and fire from short range and made a perfect throw. So often you see that ball thrown high or thrown away. He could not have thrown it better, and on a close play, Rosales is out.
Yeah, this is key because it's not a force play, right? Tag play, so Garcia winds up. You know, I thought maybe Rosales got his hand in there before the tag. Tough to tell. Ooh. Doesn't look like any challenge coming from the Padre dugout. Well, what a great effort, though, by Adam Rosales.
That's just the perfect play made by the pitcher Garcia.
Yep.
So the dust clears. The Padres now have runners at first and second with 2 outs for Will Myers, who has singled sharply both at bats. A solid .316 hitter with runners in scoring position and 2 outs throughout the year. High strike. This is one of those situations where a team member gets a base hit and picks his teammate up. Gone from first and third, no one out, to first and second and 2 outs, but Myers can pick up his teammates with a solid blow here. High, 1-1. 80 pitches now for Garcia. 2 outs here in the 5th. Got a little anthill going out there. Ooh, had a good swing there. That was in his wheelhouse.
I remember conditions like this back in the day. Even when you go, guys sweat more than other guys, but I would go to the bill of my cap, and even the bill of my cap would be saturated with perspiration. So as I mentioned earlier, there's no dry spot on your uniform. Your pants are soaked. Your jersey is soaked. There's nowhere to wipe to get dry.
Yeah, you almost expect drops of perspiration to be falling off the bill of that cap. So a ball, 2 strikes to Myers. Ground ball to Jerko. Throws across, and a golden opportunity goes awry. And Garcia pitches out of first and third, and no one out. Halfway mark in this one. 4.5 in the book. Garcia's terrific defensive play and throw to the plate to cut down Rosales, and that keeps the Cardinals in front 1-0.
Tonight, you may see some characters from a galaxy very, very far away, and just in time for the kickoff of San Diego Comic-Con, of course. Well, it's Star Wars night here at Busch Stadium, and this is a partnership league-wide between Major League Baseball and Lucasfilm, and proceeds of the tickets for Star Wars night will benefit cancer research for Stand Up to Cancer, which is a wonderful organization, and fans can come and meet different Star Wars characters who are all decked out in costume. And I just want to personally, as a total nerd goober myself, just want to wish everyone who is traveling down to San Diego this weekend for Comic-Con 2016 to have a wonderful Comic-Con, to all the fanboys, fangirls, nerds, and goobers.
Rosario leading off here in the bottom of the 5th inning, and he flies out to the left fielder Dickerson for the first out. So you're going to miss that, all those characters down there, are you, Julie?
Actually, I'm a little bit bummed. I mean, nothing's better than baseball, but this weekend in particular, it's kind of like my Christmas. I love to dress up. I'm a cosplayer myself. And it is just such an amazing event. If you've never been to a Comic-Con before, specifically San Diego Comic-Con, I mean, that is the penultimate. There's lots of Comic-Cons, lots of imitators. This is the big one. It's incredible. Have you guys ever been?
No, but it's Mecca, right? I mean, it's Comic-Con Mecca, right?
It really is. I mean, everywhere you go. And, you know, Petco is going to be transformed. They're going to be doing premieres and meet and greets. People can go and meet their favorite actors and impersonators. I mean, the cosplaying alone, these are people that take the time and the effort to construct their own costumes out of their pure fandom for these characters and movies. And it is just absolutely incredible.
It's entire families, too. It's not just mom and pop. They dress up the kids. And I mean, it's like Halloween, right?
Yeah.
Adult Halloween.
Yeah.
And hundreds of thousands migrate down to San Diego to be a part of it all. So, yes, good on you, San Diego. Garcia chased Dickerson deep to left center, and Dickerson made a fine running catch on his ball driven the first time up. Okay, here's the answer on the rosin bag. 1926. It was first introduced to baseball, Major League Baseball. And, of course, that's a time of the great Yankee teams, and spitball, I think, was banned before that. So 90 years ago, the bag full of rosin. There, the pitcher's friend, as Clemens takes care of Garcia. 5 strikeouts now for the right-hander. And the top of the order, Greg Garcia, has struck out and bounced out.
Yeah, you get some perspiration on your hand, you go to that rosin bag, and it creates a sticky feel for that baseball. It's not sticky like pine tar and that spray that you can spray on bats, but just enough to where you can get a good feel of the baseball and get on top of your breaking ball, and so that ball doesn't slip. And believe me, it's a good thing. Hitters want pitchers to have a good grip of the baseball. They don't want that ball slipping out, right?
There you go.
Coming up at the cabeza.
So Clemens now with 5. Make that 4 strikeouts. Only 4 hits, but the home run by Jerko, the only point on the board tonight. Yeah, the entire Midwest is really under a sweltering summer here. Even up in North Country, Minnesota, Michigan, and Wisconsin, it's in the 90s up there. Escanaba.
Where's Escanaba?
Upper Peninsula.
The
Uper,
UPs, huh? Yeah. Beautiful up there, though, in the summertime, isn't it?
Oh, gorgeous. Well, June was the hottest. This June 2016 was the hottest on Earth ever.
How hot was it?
Well, just as hottest ever. And it's the 14th consecutive month of record-setting heat in the 137 years they've kept records. So do you think there's not global warming? I guess it's better than global freezing.
Well,
We had that too. Earth had that.
I mean, you know.
No, let's not get into it. I'm just stating the facts. And Garcia walks with 2 outs here in the 5th. That's the second given up by Clemens. Here's what we're looking for. The Fan Diego fan of the game. Fans of the game. How about
Hey!
Oh my, and some cat nice.
Yeah, we saw those gentlemen in Chicago a couple years ago, and they were kind enough to stop by and say hello. Thanks, guys.
Very clever.
And just a little nugget, there's another jersey that said "Oh Doctor" on the back in honor of the late great Jerry Coleman. So first of all, we appreciate them taking the time to get the jersey, have that put on the back.
And using 19.
Right, in honor of Tony. And just to let you guys know, maybe there's people at home watching and seeing that, we have your picture up in our booth.
Yes,
that
we
shot
do.
you took from Wrigley Field, you know the one I'm talking about. And we display it proudly, so thank you very much.
Very clever. Well, Jed Jerko. What more can we say about his performance against the Padres?
Well, the pitching staff, they need to make some adjustments because a lot of the pitches to Jerko have been up in the zone. He's gone to right center field. He's hit the ball. He's pulled the ball.
In 5 games, he's hit as many home runs as he's hit the entire season against all the other teams. 5 against them and 5 against his former teammates. Boy, hits that one a ton. Way back. Another homer for Gyorko. Unbelievable. Three 3-0 Cardinals. Gyorko 3 for 3 in this game. His 6th homer in 5 games against San Diego. And again, the pitch up into his power. Will they not throw the ball low to Gyorko? Now that was a monster homer. And he takes the bow.
Boy, vey.
11 home runs on the season, 6 in 5 games against San Diego. The walk comes around the score in front of Gyorko. We'll wait to see how they measure that one. That was a major league drive. Piscotty sends Jankowski back a couple of steps to collect the final out of the inning, but the damage done. Gyorko with a pair of homers and accounting for all 3 Cardinal runs. Juan Casino. Sign up for the new Padres Club Card today. By Sony Alpha 7R2, popular photography's 2015 camera of the year. And by Mercury Insurance. We're on a mission to save you money. Log on to mercuryinsurance.com today. Part of the wonderful statuary outside the left field entrance here at Busch Stadium. Great Cardinals of the past. Well, Jed Gyorko against the Padres playing like a Hall of Famer. 6 home runs, 5 games. 13 for 20. There's a drive to deep left field for Matt Kemp. That's going and is gone. Touch them all, and Kemp has hit his 20th of the year. That makes it 3-1. Kemp tying Will Myers for the club lead in home runs. First pitch drives it quickly out of the yard.
All right, well, the 3rd time around for Jaime Garcia against these Padres. First pitch, as you mentioned, Dick, it was right there, middle in, and Matt Kemp, like we've seen before, those home run swings, smooth, the sound, very nice, and gone.
That was big considering the fact that Gyorko's 2nd home run had given the Cardinals a 3-run lead, so 1 back on the Kemp homer. Here's Jan Solarte. He struck out and out on a good play made by the shortstop Garcia. 411 feet on Kemp's homer. That one pulled deep to third. It's a fair ball. Jerko's long throw on the money. Another good play made by Jerko at third. So the Padres with the Kemp home run now have hit at least one homer in 18 consecutive games. The old record was 14. And for other major league teams, Dodgers and Nationals 14 earlier this season.
That's impressive. That's a great little nugget.
Derek Norris popped up to third, and a good play made on a hard shot at third baseman Jerko his last time. By the way, the last Jerko Multa home run game was with the Padres last August. He now has accomplished 2 home runs or more in a game 4 times in his career. Foul back. There's a drive to left center field, and that's going to fall for a base hit. Norris takes a turn, going to gamble, and he's going to make a leg double out of it. Good hustle by the Padre catcher. Slow to get to the ball was Hazelbaker, and he and Pham kind of looking at each other, who wants to field it, and Norris, noting that, gallops into second with a double.
Well, we've always mentioned that Derek Norris, he gives it his all out of the box, and look at that. He's going aggressive out of the box, and he turns it on right around first base. Throw is offline, in scoring position. Kind of plays it back on his heels a little bit. Catches him off guard.
Throw way offline.
Very nice.
You go back to the last inning when the Padres had first and third, no one out, and couldn't at least come up with a run there. But they've got a man in scoring position with 1 out, and Kemp's home run starting things in the 6th inning, and Alex Dickerson has lined to the pitcher and grounded to first base. High drive to left field, very high and deep, but playable. Oh, they almost collide. Hazelbaker makes the catch, and tagging, advancing to third is Norris.
Well, look, Pham's calling him off. Near collision, there is contact made, but Hazelbaker squeezes it for the out. That could have been trouble.
So 90 feet away from picking up another run, Rosales has walked and safe on an infield hit. Bullpen busy now. Manus pitched last night. Seth went an inning, 1, 2, 3. Big run to make it 3-2. Outside, ball 1. Padres bullpen is busy as well. Foul tip caught by catcher Rosario. 1-1. Brad Hand, the lefty, and Kevin Quackenbush, the righty.
Hey, a quack in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. Get it?
Bush, yeah, right here, Bush Stadium. That's very nice. Yeah. Man, you're sharp in this series.
I don't know about that.
Buy you a Budweiser.
One thing I have never done here is toured the factory.
Never have.
I've never have.
They give you a free sample.
I know.
You're such a good guy, you'd pay for it anyway.
Huge hole right up the middle of the diamond, Professor. Look at that. Something for Rosales to get that run home. Clutch 2-out hit, hopefully, for Adam.
low and inside. Just one walk from Garcia. And that was Rosales, his first time up.
When you look at shortstop Garcia, he is way over in the hole. Now he's kind of moving over towards, I love the animated arrows, but there's that area I was just talking about.
Ball 4. First and third with 2 outs to Alexei Ramirez. Rosales has been on base all 3 times with a single and a couple of walks. And manager Matheny walking slowly to the foul line and points to the bullpen. 93 pitches for Jaime Garcia in this heat and humidity, and Matheny figuring he's running out of gas. With 2 outs here in the 6th inning, exit Garcia, and the change made. Ball brought to you by T-Mobile. Anthony Rizzo, a couple of more home runs for the Cubs first baseman today. Tyler Naquin, a double and a couple of homers for the front-running Cleveland Indians, and Hanley Ramirez of the Red Sox 3 for 3 tonight. All 3 home runs.
It's getting that point in time where we're getting close to the deadline to where teams are putting up some good numbers. Certain guys making a big difference as we move later into the summer. Tyler Naquin, how about that? It's a good day for the Tribe.
And the Red Sox, after a big early lead, are trailing the Giants 10-7. Is that correct? According to that graphic. Drew Pomeranz getting cuffed around a bit in his first start as a Boston lefty. And our pitching change brought to you by El Cajon Ford. Manus, his 21st appearance. Well, the Padres have the tying run on, first and third in the dirt. Good stop by Rosario.
Well, Seth Manus from the right side is really not a hard thrower. Fastball, changeup, slider. Averages about 88. Throws a lot of strikes though. And he's a ground ball sinker type pitcher.
Inning started with Kemp's home run. And a chopper to Jerko, backs off on the play and fires across in time. Padres settle for the Kemp home run, leave 2 more at first and third. It's 3-1. Game summary, some good defense early. Jankowski leading off the game, robbed out in right field by Piscotty's catch. And Alex Dickerson returned the favor on Jaime Garcia's drive to left center field in the 3rd inning. And then comes Jedd Gyorko, first of 2 home runs. His 3rd of the series. And in the 5th inning with a man on, well, first, here's the Padres 1st and 3rd, and they try to squeeze in a run, but Rosales thrown out of the plate. Good job by Garcia, and then comes Gyorko with a 2-run homer. His 4th of the series, his 6th in 5 games against San Diego this year. And then Kemp's home run, top half of the 6th inning, puts the Padres on the board. It's 3-1. That's our Harrah's game summary. Kevin Quackenbush makes his 40th appearance.
Well, it's time to hold them. We know about holds when your team has the lead, but 2-run deficit. This is a key inning for Kevin Quackenbush, entering his 40th game.
But for Gyorko, Paul Clemens' first start as a Padre was admirable. He goes 5 innings, 3 runs, only 5 hits, 2 walks and 5 strikeouts. But 2 of the 5 hits, Gyorko home runs to account for all 3 scores. Matt Adams, a double and a strikeout. Brian Schimpf enters the game at second base, put him in the 9th spot in the batting order. He'll be leading off top of the 7th inning. So Adams, Pham, and Hazelbaker for the Cardinals here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Three and one.
I thought you were about to say Adams family when you said Adams, Pham, and Hazelbaker. Boy, one of the keys, Professor, I mentioned, remember, no home runs against these Cardinals. Sure, they're a home run hitting team, but got to make better pitches. It just hasn't been the case.
8 home runs in 3 games of the series.
It's not going to cut it.
Clemens, 77 pitches, 52 strikes. Pitched well enough. He just laid a couple of good ones in there for Gyorko. Jedd Gyorko has been taking batting practice. He doesn't hit that many out in batting practice.
It's just, they're just too fat of pitches. And you're flirting with disaster when you just consistently throw middle in, heart of the plate.
Strike 3 called. Adams caught looking. 1 away to Tommy Pham.
Well, Kevin Quackenbush may have gotten a call right there, but that's a big league hang with him as Adams go down. Kevin doing a fine job holding opponents to a .224 average in this season.
Pham is grounded to second, walked and stole a base. Breaking ball high. And it doesn't get any easier for the Padre hitters tomorrow night with Adam Wainwright on the mound. He's fresh from a complete game shutout against Miami. There's the curveball strike. Andrew Kashner will oppose Wainwright. 4 o'clock our TV time here on Fox Sports San Diego. One and 2. Good news on Tyson Ross. His progress continues. He threw from 180 feet yesterday and complained of no problems with the shoulder nor that twisted ankle. Hopefully the big right-hander will be back in action soon. 2-2 the count.
That's been too long for Tyson. We wish him well. We wanted to be 100% obviously, but miss him dearly.
Take the top man out of your pitching rotation, lose him for the whole season to this point. That required a lot of alterations and bringing in new faces, new arms. It's given opportunity, and that's how Drew Pomeranz then blossoms into an outstanding season and used as a Bartering chip with the Boston Red Sox. Strike 3 call. That's 2 in a row. Adams and now Pham caught looking. Jeremy Hazelbaker next.
Hey, the freeze fastball outside corner. Kevin Quackenbush has got the field down. The curveball and the located fastball. That's what you want. You want a quick 1-2-3 right here.
Hazelbaker fouled out to Solarte, leaned into the third base dugout to take that foul pop up. Struck out the last time. With the 2 home runs by Jerko tonight, that's 8 in the 3 games of this series thus far. And also for the season, the Cardinals as a team have 131 homers. Last year they hit 137, only 6 more. Going to hit that mark before we get to August this year. Ground ball sharply toward right field under Schimpf's dive. Hazelbaker has a base hit. With 2 outs, that'll bring up Colton Wong.
As a pitcher, you'll take those all day long. You make a good pitch, you get a ground ball, it just happens to find a hole. Nice effort by Schimpf trying to help out Quackenbush to get a 1-2-3 inning.
Wong fouls that away. Double checking the final line for Clemens. It was 5 innings, 3 runs on 4 hits. 2 of those home runs by Jerko. Hazelbaker single, the 5th for the Redbirds tonight. He has 4 steals. As we said, that matches the best for any Cardinal base runner. Pales in comparison to the Padres. Upton with 20. Myers with 17. Ground ball slowly up the middle. The play back to first base and not safe. Safe's the call. Myers had to pull his foot off the bag and reaching for the errant throw from Schimpf.
I'm wondering why Schimpf didn't go to second base.
Play was right there. But he elected an off-balance throw that sails wide.
Yeah, it looked like Alexei Ramirez was right there for the force.
They're going to call that a hit. Official score sees that as a base hit. That's a bad throw. Otherwise, he's out.
Yeah, I agree with you, Dick. I think that's got to be an error.
Looking into the dugout as the Padres may be checking the video replay back in the clubhouse. Oh, that's generous scoring. Sometimes you wonder what is an error. Too much time. If you haven't challenged by now, whether it's the Padres or the opposition, they've got to put a time limit on it.
Well, let's see Alexei Ramirez. He's going to the bag. Ryan Schimpf. Oh, plenty of time for the force.
That would have been an easy play at second.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It makes the easy play a difficult play, and then the errant throw gives a gift single to Wong. Rosario, the young catcher, is grounded to short and flied to left. 3-1 St. Louis here in the bottom of the 6th. Fly ball to center. Jankowski barely had to move back a step, and the inning is over. 2 singles, no runs. It's still 3-1. runs here. First and third, one out, and tried the safety squeeze, but the bunt too hard, and the fine play made by Garcia, and the out recorded on Rosario. And then with the first and second, Myers grounds out. Then in the last inning, they got a runner to third, only to have Ramirez ground out. So it stays at 3-1, the only run on Kemp's home run. New pitcher is Tyler Lyons. He'll face Schimpf, Jankowski, a couple of left-handed batters scheduled, so they bring in the lefty.
His 27th game for the left-hander. Not bad splits in 40-plus innings. More strikeouts than innings pitched. Fastball, slider, changeup, curveball. High 80s, low 90s for number 70.
Native of Lubbock, Texas, is Tyler Lyons, 9th round pick of the Redbirds back in 2010. Way off the mark on his first delivery. All-State quarterback as well was Lyons in his prep days before playing for the Oklahoma State Cowboys.
Come on now. First one was directly over his head. That one's right at his noggin.
Whoa, Padres have that pitch too, but they don't use it very often. 2-0. And it rips that one foul out in front. Schimpf, who hit a long home run in the day game today in the first inning. Jankowski led off the game with a double, and Schimpf hit one over the center field fence 425 feet for his 6th homer. So it's coming up from El Paso. That ball is hit well to right field. That's chasing the right fielder Piscotty back to the wall, and gone. Touch 'em all. Another homer for Schimpf. Day and night. He goes deep, and the Padres pull within 1. Number 7 for Schimpf.
I tell you what, the kid's got some pop. The guy's a spark plug. You betcha. Lefty on lefty at that. Breaking ball out in front, gets under it. A great effort by Piscotty. Oh, just over his glove.
Here's Jankowski. So interestingly, all runs in this day-night doubleheader on home runs. In the day game, the Padres 2 runs, Schimpf's 2-run homer in the first inning. Matt Holliday solo home run, Jerko a 2-run shot, and Molina solo for the 4 runs for St. Louis in the 4-2 win. And Jerko's 2 home runs in this game, knocking in the 3 runs, and solo shots from Kemp and Schimpf to make it 3-2. Breaking ball low, says plate umpire Rackley. Just long enough. There's that little separation that led to the ground rule double earlier in the game. 367 feet, but might as well be that as 467. Schimpf continues to ignore singles. Way inside, and 3-1 to Jankowski. Get him aboard on a walk, and there's the evidence of Schimpf's home run and someone else's, maybe that one from batting practice.
Yeah, I got a couple of eggs out there.
That one on the left is nesting. Swinging at 3-1 and a foul back.
You know what, maybe I'm asking a little bit too much, but I've always been a big fan. I'm not saying that ball should have been caught, but if an outfielder goes back quickly and jumps up to the fence, that's a catchable ball. And I don't think outfielders do that enough. That's something
they
you can
drift with the ball, you're saying,
yeah,
instead of getting there at the fence.
And you can climb the wall.
3-2. Ground ball swept to the right side. Wong over to Adams. One away. Our game tonight presented in colorful HD by Sony. So you can see the little difference here along the left field wall. Right there. The ball can slip in there on the fly. That's a home run. But if it bounces off the warning path and hits that second wall, a ground rule double.
Hey, don't get me wrong. I'm all about Ryan Schimpf hitting a home run. Good for him.
Lions came in to pitch to the two left-handers, and Schimpf took him deep. It's 3-2 pitching change. In St. Louis, a big crowd on this Wednesday night. Cardinals winning earlier today in the day-night doubleheader 4-2, and they lead 3-2 tonight. Jonathan Broxton, the former Dodger, big right-hander, comes in out of the pen.
6'4", 285-pound Jonathan Broxton. He is a biggin, isn't he, Mr. Enberg?
Yeah.
That's a keeper right there.
That was Ernie Harwell, right?
A little Keith Jackson coming your way.
Will Myers, 2 singles and 3 at-bats, and he sends a high fly ball into shallow center, and that's falling in a hurry and caught by Wong with his back to the plate. Tough chance, and the second baseman able to take a blue pit away from Myers.
That is great concentration. That is something every pitcher, every position player appreciates. Look, he doesn't even, he slows up right at the last second. But his name and number towards the infield. He's looking up at that baseball. What in the Jimmy Edmonds is going on out there?
So 2 outs, base is empty, and Matt Kemp, who homered his last time, steps up. It is 20th to tie Myers for the club lead. That was 63 runs batted in. Has taken over that leadership from his teammate Myers.
Broxton can still bring it. Low 90s up to 98 with the 4-seamer. He also throws that little two-seamer that's got some run to it. Slider, curveball change.
Outside swing and a miss. That's the slider.
Yeah, pretty much fastball slider combo from Broxton.
7 years with the Dodgers, breaking into the big leagues. 3 years in Cincinnati, 2 Milwaukee, and then he finished last year with the Cardinals. Was 3-3 with a 2.66 ERA.
See Rosario pointing to the ground. He wants it down and away here.
Foul just out of the glove of Rosario.
Missed with location on that one.
Cardinals got him at the trade deadline last year from the Brewers for a minor league outfielder. Padres have out hit the Cardinals 7-6. 2 home runs both solo, the 2 home runs by Jerko, 1 with a man on to make the difference. 3-2. Sounded like he might have broken his bat on that one. Didn't sound good, but the stick's okay. Count remains 2 strikes. Burley right-hander has 118 career saves. 58 with the Dodgers back in 2009. Tapped out in front of the plate. Broxton fields, goes to first, inning over. But Ryan Schimpf gets the Padres within 1 as he greets Tyler Lyons with his 2nd home run of the day after ducking a couple of pitches over his head. And the Padres have pulled within 1 at the stretch half of the 7th. St. Louis 3, San Diego 2. Brought to you by RCP Block and Brick. Start your outdoor project at rcpblock.com. By Petco, your complete pet store. And by your San Diego County Lexus dealers. Stretch half of the 7th at Busch Stadium in St. Louis with the home Cardinals leading 3-2. Ryan Schimpf and Matt Kemp with solo home runs for the 2 Padres scores. Quackenbush into his 2nd inning of work. And it's Randal Grichuk pinch hitting for Broxton. And he grounds one up the middle and past Shrimp into second center field. So Grichuk wastes no time. Leadoff single.
Well, pinch hitting off the bench as left-hander Kevin Segrist warms up. You get that first pitch fastball, you're going to be hacking.
Top of the order, Greg Garcia, 0 for 2. He walked and scored in front of Jerko's 2nd home run back in the 5th inning. Who's lurking on deck. Will Quackenbush have a different formula for pitching to Jerko? We'll see. First to take care of Garcia. keeping the runner Grichuk close, try to set up a double play here.
A lot of grounders on that curveball when Quackenbush keeps it down in the zone. Might have something on here early.
Runner goes, a little hit and run,
Yep.
but protecting the runner was Garcia. Had to foul off a bad pitch, but saves the runner. $41,012 the attendance here at Busch Stadium tonight. Just consistently 40,000 plus are the Redbirds at home. That's a strike with a breaking ball. 1-2. Yankees shut out Baltimore tonight 5-0. Red Sox with a win would move into first place. Ground ball to third, 1 hop. Solarte, Schimpf back to first, thrown away by Schimpf. So no error on the play. You can't presume the double play. Safe on the fielder's choice is Garcia.
Well, Jedd Gyorko, how do you figure him out? Well, you can't throw balls right down the middle. Look at this pitch here. Middle in, down the middle. That pitch there, middle in, down the middle. This pitch here, middle in, down the middle. Look where Derek Norris's glove is. He wants it down and away. He has to reach up, belt buckle high, down the middle. That's not going to play. I don't care if it's Jedd Gyorko. I don't care if it's Stan Musial. I don't care if it's the kid in Double-A. You got to make an adjustment.
That's his batting practice fastballs. So he singled on a line the first time up and has homered the last 2 times. 3 home runs today, 4 home runs in the 3-game series, 6 home runs in the 5 against San Diego on the season.
Good breaking ball right there by Kevin.
Players with 3 home runs in a doubleheader against the Padres. He joins Mike Lum, David Justice, and Larry Walker. It's a short list.
Yeah. Boy, Mike Lum, former Red, former Brave. That's who I remember Mike Lum with is Garcia has to wipe the brow.
Grichuk with his lead. Leadoff single, or actually that's Garcia on the fielder's choice. Solarte takes care of Gyorko, and finally the Padres get their former teammate out. And he made out a couple of times in the day game, but they're both line drive outs around a home run. So 2 out. Runner moves into scoring position. Garcia.
Oh, the curveball. Even though it was a hanging breaking ball, up and away just enough. Sometimes a hanger's a good one.
Stephen Piscotty is 0 for 3.
And because of the result, yes, in the weak ground ball left side, good pitch by Kevin Quackenbush.
1 for 7 on the day. Piscotty. 3 hits in game 1.
Kevin's got a good feel for the breaking ball. He's throwing it for first pitch strikes this inning.
Jumps ahead of Piscotty, 2 strikes. So Boston in the 8th inning, bottom of the 8th, leading San Francisco 11-7. So if they can hold on, Boston jumps in front of Baltimore, first place in the American League East, even though Drew Pomeranz a rough start in his initial effort as a Red Sox performer. Washington clobbered the Dodgers 8-1 tonight, a final. One and 2 out of play. Here's Pomerantz's line. He went 3 innings, gave up 5 runs, all earned on 8 hits, 4 strikeouts. So not the kind of pitching that we saw while with the Padres. Just as James Shields in his first effort with the White Sox struggled, but has gotten his act back together. And we wish Pomerantz well. There's the Boston score. San Francisco, unless they make a big rally late, are going to lose their 5th in a row. Swing and a miss, strike 3, and that's it for the 7th inning for St. Louis. Quackenbush a couple of solid innings out of the pen. 2 innings to go. The Padres have pulled within 1. It's 3-2 for the Cardinals. August 1st is the trade deadline this year, so just 11 days to go, and we're just speculating that there will be some major deals made, and may or may not involve the Padres, but there's a lot of interest in some of the San Diego talent around Major League Baseball. Here's Kevin Siegrist on his 27th birthday. Pitched earlier today an inning, 1-2-3, and first ball hunting. Solarte skies one to right. 1 pitch, 1 out. 0 for 4 for Solarte, who singled his first time up in the day game, has gone 0 for 7 since, even though he's hit the ball well. Derek Norris doubled his last time, a leg double. 1 for 3 on the game.
Well, so no problem, as Dick mentioned, for Siegrist. 1 inning in game 1, 1-2-3 inning. He's bouncing back quite nicely. Mid-90s on the fastball for Siegrist from the left side, along with the changeup and the slider.
Led the majors in appearances last year 81 times. Half the Cardinal regular season schedule he was pitching. It's a yeoman effort. Misses there.
I always like to look at the end of the year line for a guy like Jesse Roscoe, right? Jesse would pitch in like 70 games, but he'd only have like 50 some innings because situational type guy, right? He'd come in for 1 out, he'd come in for 2 outs, and then call it a night.
That's on the inside corner, says plate umpire Rackley. As Ryan Buchter loosening in the Padre pen out in the left field.
So for Siegrist last year, those 81 games, 74 innings. So the left-hander, pretty much an inning.
Inning per outing.
Yeah. Good pitch.
Same spot.
That's a good pitch.
Just tickling the inside edge.
It might have been in a little bit, but hey, it's a strike zone that David Rackley's calling a strike tonight.
Another of the long shot draft picks of the Cardinals. 1,235th overall pick back in 2008. He's an avid ice hockey fan, and in weather like this, you can hardly get ice hockey out of your mouth. Derek Norris would like to ice the puck right here, dump it into left field bleachers, tie this thing up.
He's got to be a Sabres fan then, huh? Born in Buffalo?
You would think, yeah. Makes his home in Florida now. Low and away, 2-2. After Norris, it'll be Alex Dickerson. Padres stuck on 2. 10-2 they lost in game 1. 4-2 today. Now 3-2 they trail tonight. Down goes Norris. 2 away. And a check of the Cholula flamethrower.
With the left-hander Kevin Siegrist on the hill for the Cardinals. As I mentioned, he can get up to mid-90s. What's he touching tonight? 94, that's hot sauce. A little here, a little there.
Talking about flamethrower, the Padres' Jose Dominguez hit 100 miles an hour in the day game.
Nice.
Outside to Dickerson. Looking for his first hit of the day. He's 0 for 6, but he's lined out a couple of times. Plenty of power to tie it up. Away, 2-0.
Fredberg trying to rally the troops.
Got to watch your beak there now, Fredberg.
Put an eye out.
Pops him up left side. Jerko out, called off by no. He's going to take it himself for the 3rd out. A 1-2-3 inning worked by the birthday man Siegrist. We go to the bottom of the 8th. in the day game. That one was a deep center field in the first inning, a 425-foot shot. And then tonight, in his first at bat, drives home over the right field wall just out of the reach of Piscotty. Home runs in both ends of a doubleheader, somewhat of a rarity, and it's our In the Driver's Seat brought to you by Kia. The solo home run tonight, 13th Padre to hit a home run in both games of a doubleheader, and you have to go all the way back to 1999 to find Ruben Rivera, the last to accomplish that as a Padre.
Yeah, thanks to Josh Issue from the Padres and Stats for that little nugget.
So enter Ryan Buchter in the bottom of the 8th inning. He'll work to the middle 3 of the Cardinal order: Adams, Pham, and Hazelbaker.
Well, continuing to have a stellar year, the left-hander Ryan Buchter, his 45th game, ERA under 2.5, and the strikeouts 57 in 41 frames, and the splits, they don't lie, below 200 both sides of the plate. Buries that fastball into the righties. He's aggressive against the lefties as well.
Outstanding find by the Padres. Ryan Buchter. Matt Adams a double, and then has struck out the last 2 times. Way out in front, strike 1. It's just amazing. Here's a man with all this talent at age 29, finally gets a complete chance. We're talking about Buchter Nadeau, who's now their closer. And to think that he's labored in the minor leagues since 2006. Atlanta brought him up for 1 game, and he pitched 1 inning. And then he goes back to the minors all of last year, and the Padres do a great job of scouting, and they sign him as a major league contract in the offseason. And he's been outstanding.
What a great story.
It is.
The kind of kid you root for, like you mentioned, Dick, back in the minor leagues with the Nationals in 2006, playing rookie ball.
Before this year, 370 games in the minors, 1 in the major leagues. At 29, life opens up for him. Now 3-1 to Adams. Needs to hold a 4th here in the 8th inning. Hope the Padres can scramble for a run or more in the top of the 9th inning. It'll be Rosales' replacement. That's a pitcher's spot. Hitting 7th to lead off. Then Ramirez and Schimpf scheduled in the 9th. Looks like they'll face O. And a walk to the leadoff man, Adams. That doesn't please Buchter at all. Brings up Pham, who has grounded out, walked, and struck out. We have a lot of fans that follow the Padres in Las Vegas. In that city, producing Tommy Pham. Durango High School. Same high school program that sent Ryan Ludwig to the Cardinals and to the Padres, and a great major league career. Struggling to hit the strike zone. 2-0.
Well, there's tomorrow's chunker, Adam Wainwright. Final game of the series. Coming off a good outing last time out.
What a terrific career he's had, huh?
Yeah, battling injury and bouncing back.
That's a strike. Wainwright, amongst his many honors, All-Star games, nearly a Cy Young, finished twice second for the Cy Young, twice third, and he's second all-time to Bob Gibson, most strikeouts by a Cardinal.
Wow, that's good company, huh?
Good fastball right through the swing of Pham. And apparently a terrific leader in the clubhouse as well. A model player, works hard, good team guy, follow my lead. 6-3 line time against the Padres. Yadier Molina will be his catcher tomorrow night. Pretty good combo. Line foul past third.
You know, even though Pham turned on that ball quickly and nicely, that's exactly what Ryan Buchter has done so well this year. Not afraid to bury that fastball. Okay, you're going to turn on it like that. I can go a little bit more inside and saw you off.
Two and two. Leadoff man Adams with a walk at first base. Swing and a miss. Strike three. One away here in the eighth.
Very aggressive Ryan Buchter and Pham fans on the high heater.
That'll bring up Hazelbaker, who's fouled out, struck out, and singled his last time. Just brought up a couple of days ago, Hazelbaker. We saw him in San Diego at Petco earlier in the year. He hits with power. He's got 7 home runs and limited at bats. Oh, 2. Well, Toronto won tonight, beat Arizona 10-4. So with Baltimore losing, Boston winning, boy, try to scramble atop the American League East. You know, Toronto was just a game and a half out going into the game. So it could be Boston a half game ahead of Baltimore and just 1 game in front of Toronto. Packed at the top of the American League East. 1-2. And then you look at the playoff picture in that Boston game isn't final yet, but you've got them in front of Baltimore. There's Toronto, and then the wild card. Baltimore and Toronto would be the 2 wild cards at the moment. Watch out for Houston. They started slowly. They're getting it together. 1-2 the count.
And we've seen things turn around. Even if you're 7 games out right now, that can change quickly.
It's going to be a very interesting 10 days here to see the maneuvering of the general managers and teams trying. Some are buyers, some are sellers. We'll get some of that information on our postgame show, so stay with us. High fly ball, just missed that. And Jankowski tucks it away for the second out. Brings up Colton Wong. Wong made that fine defensive play running into right center field. Take a blue hit away from Myers.
It looked like Derek Norris just going out to have a little refresher course with Ryan Buchter there with Colton Wong. Hey, you want to go first pitch breaking ball here? How about fastball down and away? We shall see, but it's nice being on the same page with your catcher.
We talked about it before, and it was on one of our special San Diego shows, and about Buchter, who said, you know, I show them my stuff, and if they don't catch up to my fastball, that's what I'm going to throw until they show me they can hit it. I mean, it's pretty simple when you look at it that way.
And if you can locate the fastball, if a guy is touching you up when it's over the heart of the plate a little bit, but following it back, move it in a little bit more, or change speeds on it, drop the breaking ball. But no, that's a great way to think about it when you read hitters' swings.
So he fouled off the pitch a fastball late, and so he comes right back with a fastball for a strike. 0-2. Just think about the spring training and how the pitching was set up, the rotation, the bullpen, some question marks, and what has happened from the start of the season till now. If they give the best coach, not manager, the coach of the year award in the National League, Darren Palsey's got to win it hands down, what he's done with his pitching staff.
Yeah, I agree.
0-2. Try to get him to go up the ladder. I mean, here's Ryan Buchter. Nobody thought he had the stuff for the major league. Only one major league game. There's Bolton, as they call him in the clubhouse. Drew Pomerantz, somewhat floundering in the bullpen for Oakland all last year, becomes a top all-star. Fly ball to left. Dickerson, does he have room? Yes, right on the foul line. A foul ball catch. And the Padres come up. They need a run to tie, 2 to win against O in the top of the ninth. The game, and you can't ignore what Jed Jerko has done in this series. 2 home runs, one with a man on to account for all 3 Cardinal runs. And in the game, he homered as well. He has homered in the 5 games against San Diego 6 times. He is our Carl's Jr. star of the game. 2 homers and a single for Jerko in this second game. On comes Sung-Won Oh. Veteran right-hander, free agent signee by the Cardinals. 34 last Friday. Sorry
about that, Dick. We saw him in game 1 this afternoon. He recorded his 3rd save. He pitched an inning, struck out 2. So no problem for the right-hander. Coming right back out there in the nightcap.
Taken over from Trevor Rosenthal as the closer. At first pitch is swung on, and a high fly ball to fairly deep left center. And that one is squeezed by Pham for the first out. So one swing by Amoris. He's been swinging at the first pitch every time, hasn't he? Did that in game 1.
He did, and with that split finger fastball and that slider, he's got good velocity on the fastball as well. So he's a tough customer out there.
1 pitch, 1 out, and here's Ramirez, a single and 3 at bats. The other 2 times grounded to third. Schimpf on deck. Variety of pitches and speeds from O. 9 years in the Korean League, 2 years, the last 2 in Japan. High school in the capital of South Korea. Soul. 1-2. So he jumps from the Korean League to the Japanese League in the last 2 years. Led the Central League in saves, 39 and 41 saves. And he blows down Ramirez. 96 on the fastball. Final out facing the Padres. And Schiff come up with the right stuff again.
O's kind of got that delivery where he throws across his body and that ball sneaks up on you. Not only the little deception, but also velocity plays a role.
A sign of the failing bullpen for Mike Matheny is the fact in one-run games this year, the Cardinals are 7-16. But here's a chance for them to win one. They're 1 out away as O has moved to that closing role. Shams Schiff with a 95-mile-an-hour pitch. Here's his last at bat. A high, deep drive just over the wall and right. That one came off Tyler Lyons. Second home run today, one in each end of the doubleheader. Back with a fastball upstairs, 1-1.
Oh, that's 96 to go along with the devastating slider, and don't forget about the split finger as well from O.
Boy, what a call there. That's way off the plate. 1-2. 41,012 for the nightcap of the doubleheader. Those that have stayed are on their feet looking for that final strike, final out.
Well, he's hunting the fastball there. He got it. Now will O counter with something else off speed or try to challenge him with that heater. Let's peek into Rosario, see what he puts down here. Split finger away.
Way away. 2-2.
Kind of patted himself on the chest right there, indicating my bad on that one. Let it out just a little bit too soon. Didn't get it out front. Fastball away.
And we've seen Schimpf. He can go deep to the opposite field.
Outfield on the deep side.
Struck him out. Cardinals sweep the doubleheader. Final St. Louis 3, San Diego 2. And here's Mike Pomeranz.
All right, Max.